We're trying to reach small businesses who wish to export, small businesses who perhaps have never thought about exporting before. We would do things like workshops, we would do things like extra one-to-one with people, it's paid for extra advisors on the ground. It's also given some funding so that people can feel more confident about getting out there and getting abroad. And I think a lot of companies, so the light goes on, and wait a minute, yeah, I could sell that somewhere else, and actually, maybe I could sell it for more than I'm selling it here.
Export was already a thing that I was starting to think about, but when I went on the course, that really did make me think, yes, this is definitely what I want to be doing.
Export Cornwall has been invaluable to our business. We've been able to break into emerging markets, particularly the BRIC countries.
It's made me feel, yes, I should go out, I should look at these other markets, I should actually have fun in the world.
My name's Amy and I work for a company called Science Play. The intention really was to produce play equipment that could enable learning through play. Well, my husband's doing a PhD in astrophysics, and so one of the first pieces of equipment we produced was a planetarium, really to learn about the night sky. That sort of realisation that I've produced a lovely product and it looks great, but I need to find a market for it. And that's quite scary, and when you suddenly say, oh, well, actually that's not in the UK, that's even bigger question. And so really going to the workshops really gave me the confidence to actually go out there and go and find these companies, and then through the support that they give you, so I could actually go and see these people, whereas you can't just email people and think that you're going to get a sale through that way. You've got to go and see these people face to face. I've just been to Copenhagen. I've had support from them in terms of my flights and my accommodation, and now I'm off to Shanghai to a show. If children can learn through playing, what better way to learn?
Our aim and objective is really to give every player, no matter what background, no matter where they're from, the opportunity to get scouted by a professional club and take their first step on their journey to becoming a professional footballer. We currently deal with 32,000 players from 208 countries. It's absolutely been my passion since I was a young child. Sport's been my life. The main thing that Export Cornwall helped us with was a training day on search engine optimization, where we were currently in the market at around number 4 or 5, but after having only a single day's training, we've now become number 1 in Google, and that has made a huge difference to the way we operate, to the number of inquiries we get, and ultimately our sales, and therefore the bottom line. As well as that, Export Cornwall have provided a mentor for us to help us understand the step-by-step process to marketing overseas, to selling overseas, to finding partners, and that has led to opportunities for us this year alone in Bermuda, Singapore, Indonesia and China. So it's about ensuring every player that plays football in the world gets the chance to play football at the highest level, enjoy their game, whilst having access to information that we know will help them improve their football, make them a better player and ultimately a better person.
I've met so many different companies who've had so many brilliant products, and it's just a case of going in, listening, and kind of saying, well, actually, yes, we can help you in this way or this way. And the ethos has been one of helpfulness, pragmatism, encouragement, can do, all those sorts of things to try and get people to give them the belief that they can export.
To actually make one's living as an artist, you have to be obsessional. This is what I would do even if I didn't have to make my living from it. And I find it tremendously exciting to ship art all over the world. It's been wonderful to have the opportunity of having many different elements of export addressed by real experts in the field. I've actually really enjoyed working with social media. To begin with, I was appalled at the idea that I would actually post on Facebook 5 times a week, as I was advised to do. And then I realised I enjoy doing so. I quite like the discipline. And I now have a dialogue with people all over the world. I have a following in Taiwan, Turkey, Brazil, Russia. And I'm sure that that does genuinely lead to sales.
Reflex Marine are a marine safety company. We specialise in offshore access, in oil and gas and renewable industries. We help people get to work safely. Our products are used from the Arctic through the tropics of the Caribbean and West Africa down to Brazil and Argentina. The most beneficial aspect of working with Export Cornwall is the the contact building, the networking, getting through to the right contacts, such as influential government departments in particular countries, emerging markets, and the knowledge and the advice and the expertise that gets us in touch with. We've always been exporting, so thanks to Export Cornwall, we've been able to diversify even further geographically from our existing export markets into emerging markets such as the BRIC countries and Mexico.
So Silly Old Sea Dog provide vintage-inspired clothing for women and accessories in UK sizes 6 to 28. What I really like about that era is the shape of the dress and the silhouette. I think they're really flattering for women of all different sizes. I went to see Export Cornwall after taking orders online for customers in other countries and really just sort of reacting to the orders rather than trying to target any of those customers in particular. I think that being able to go on some of the day courses has been brilliant. There's some sort of very simple advice that I've taken from them that has really helped me to make my website more user-friendly, so the customers can use it more easily regardless if they don't speak English or if they're in another country. And in a few weeks' time we'll be going to Viva Las Vegas, which is the biggest vintage rockabilly event in the world, to showcase my designs on the catwalk and also sell over there. Working with Export Cornwall has meant that we're able to look at new territories, so I'm really excited about firstly going to America and then hopefully onto other countries as well.
If you're a company thinking of exporting from Cornwall, I would say go for it. Have a go, swing the bat, as my mentor would say.
If I hadn't have had Export Cornwall, then I wouldn't have had the knowledge behind me, because obviously I'm quite a small business. I don't have all that expertise, but I do have it because I've got Export Cornwall. Being based here in Cornwall, working within a global industry with a global outlook is fantastic.
So much has to be understood about the culture, the expectations, the way other people do business. And now I have a lot of the tools to make a start on this, and I can't wait.
In this video, you've heard of some really successful companies that Export Cornwall has helped on the export journey. All companies can take that journey, and we will help you along the way along with UKTI.